Okay, everyone, welcome to Mr. Naylor's class. I'm Mr. Naylor. Today, we're going to factor by grouping with 3 terms. Okay, class, so let's take a look at a couple of examples. There's a really good example on page 304. I'm going to write it out, 6x squared plus 11x plus 4. You guys write it down too. Now, this one has nothing in common. We can't multiply 2 numbers together to give us 4 that would add to give us 11 because this number is not 1. It's not a difference of 2 squares, so we're going to have to factor it by grouping. Now, if we couldn't factor it, what's it called when you can't factor something? Does anybody remember? It's called prime. This is not prime right here. There are factors for this one. Okay? Now, pay close attention to this because this is a little bit difficult. All right? The first thing I have to do is I have to multiply A times C. 6 times 4. And that gives me 24. Now, my question is I want to think, what are factors of 24 that when I add together to give me 11? So what times what is 24, but when I add gives me 11? And what's the answer to that?
7 times 3.
What times what is 24, but adds
8 and 3.
up to 11? Go ahead.
8 and 3.
8 and 3. Very good, Dominic. We'll call you Dominic K to protect your anonymity. Dominic K, that is correct. Now, what I'm doing with factoring by grouping is I'm taking 3 terms and I'm changing it and making it 4 terms. So I can group the first 2 and the second 2 together, just like we were doing yesterday. This is a little bit more complicated version of that. So I'm going to always rewrite this first term, 6x squared, the last term, 4, but I want to take 11x and I want to rewrite it in 2 terms. So what plus what is 11x? Well, 10x plus 1, 9x plus 2, 8x plus 3, and so on. But the factors that we need have to add up to 11. They got to multiply together to give me 24 and add to give me 11. So the only possible answer is 8 and 3. So I'm going to make that 11x, 8x, and 3x. So if I simplify these 4 terms, you'll still get this. They're the same problem. 8x plus 3x is 11x. Now, I'm going to do what I did the last couple of days now. I'm going to group these 2 terms together. It doesn't matter which one of these 2 you write first. Because remember, it doesn't matter what order you add, right, Alani?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what does a 6 and an 8 both have in common? 2. 2 times 3, 2 times 4. So I'm going to rewrite the 2 outside parentheses. Do they have a variable in common? How many x's? 1x, right? So what times 2x is 6x squared? 3x. What times 2x is 8x? 4. Now remember from factoring by grouping from the last couple of days, this term right here and whatever I write inside here is going to be the same, right? Now the next thing I'm going to, oh wait, look, 3x plus 4, that's the exact same as this, right? I don't have to do anything. Now we wouldn't just put plus there, we want to have a number there because we want to group it with a 2x. So what would I write here? 1. So I group 2x and the 1 together. And then these 2, 3x plus 4. Now these are factors of the original problem. That's my answer. If I multiplied these two together, I would get this. Okay? Any questions on that before we move on to the next one?
No, sir. No.
Factoring by grouping. I'm taking 3 terms and I'm making it into 4 terms. And I'm only changing the middle term. The first 2 terms are going to stay the same. So this one's number 27 on page 307. I'm going to erase this one. 27 on page 307 looks like this. It's 7x squared plus 9x plus 2. So like I said, we want to keep the first term and the third term the same. 7x squared and 2. Now we want to change the middle term. 2 numbers, when I add them together, that give me 9x, like a 8x plus 1, 7x plus 2, 6x plus 3. But in order to figure out exactly what we need, I'm going to multiply 7 times 2, which is what?
14.
7 times 2 is 14. Now we have to figure out what 2 factors of 14 add together to give me 9. And that's obviously what?
7 times
3 times 3.
So 7 and 2.
Right, Naomi. I'm going to call you Naomi G to protect your anonymity. Is that okay? 7 plus 2 is 9x. Very good. Now it doesn't matter what order you write them. I'm going to write the 7x first. Plus 2x. Again, you'll get the same answer because it doesn't matter what order you add. 7 plus 2 is 9 and 2 plus 7 is 9. So now we're going to group these first 2 together. What does 7x squared and 7x both have in common?
7.
A 7 and a what?
X. 1 squared.
So 7x times what is 7x squared?
4 times 4. No, 4 times. No.
X, right?
Yeah.
7x times what is 7x squared? I'm sorry, 7x times what is 7x?
7x squared.
7 times 1.
1. Now whatever's in this parentheses right here is going to be the same right here. So let's take a look at the 2x and the 2. What do 2x and 2 both have in common?
2x. 2.
They have a 2 in common. So put plus 2. What times 2 is 2x?
1. X.
X. What times 2 is 2?
1.
Do you see how they're the same? They always should be the same. 7x plus 2, factor these 2 together, and then the x plus 1. These are my factors. Anybody have any questions?
No, sir.
Are you sure?
Positive.
No.
Let's take a look at number 28. 28 is a little bit more difficult because now we have a negative. So we got 6x squared plus 11x minus 2. So now we're going to say 6 times negative 2 is what? And what plus what equals that? That gives me 11. You guys give it a try. If you're watching at home, press the pause button. You give it a try too. When you get finished, press the play button. Watch me do it. Let's see if we get the same answer. Ready? Go ahead. Okay, when you get finished, take a look up here. You'll notice that two of the numbers have a negative sign in common, and that's why you gotta take a negative sign out. And please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell to notice another video, and we'll see you in the next one.